We can do it in like actually.
layered up.
You know, fucking, I'll just
Uh,
I'll fuck it already. So you want to go first? You want me to go first?
okay, you go first. I'm terrible at Demon Slayer. I gotta like remember.
All right.
Shit.
So first, I'll just start off by saying that just narratively consistent that Gyomei will be the strongest druid, right? Amongst the people who are in the Demon Corps and the narrator themselves, the author, right? There's multiple statements that just infer that Gyomei is the strongest, right? So there's just credence for him being the strongest. Pretty simple.
So your argument's narrative. So Yoma narratively stronger, therefore he's stronger than Giyu. That's pretty much the argument. Simplified.
Yeah.
Uh, okay. So I think that narrative would only hold up to the point to where when Gyomei died, and then afterwards Giyu's just implied to just like get massively stronger than that.
Wait, all right. Where's the implication? I don't think he's ever applied to be like stronger than Gyomei.
Okay, so
Like he could have been the strongest after Gyomei died. Of course, that's fine, but I don't think that
I
means that
mean,
he's stronger than Gyomei.
I'm saying afterwards he fights somebody stronger than Gyomei's ever faced. So it's just the implication would
Oh,
just the
are you
narrative
talking
would
about? Are you
only
talking
be
about DKT?
yeah. I think that's just stronger than anyone Gyomei's ever fought.
Wait, based on what?
It's just stated like that DKT is just stronger than
Stated.
Muzan.
Go ahead and show that, please.
I don't have Demon Slayer inverse,
Okay,
man.
okay. If you don't have it, I know what statement you're talking
You know
about, but I hope
what I'm
you know.
talking about.
Like, are you talking about Yushiro's statement where she's like, "Oh yeah, you're stronger than like Nezuko and even moves on and yada yada yada." When she's talking to
Yeah,
Tanjiro.
pretty much. They do.
Yeah, so you
They
know,
do
like,
say
okay, if I say that wrong, go ahead. Go ahead. My fault. I don't want to cut you off.
okay. So pretty much, just stated he's just stated to be stronger than Muzan, and then with that, I'm just inferring that at that point, uh, Giyu would just surpass whatever Gyomei's narrative was because he's only implied to be the strongest up until that point. I don't think that narrative would continue after he died. Like
Okay.
it's like the same. It's like wait, let me finish. It's like the same thing with
Alright.
Yoriichi. Like he's like implied to be like this extremely strong person, but I think that narrative cuts off after he dies because you can make an implication that the Slayers just get stronger than he was, unless you disagree with
Okay.
that.
So here are my issues with that. Right. First issue is just that with the Yushiro statement is just that like right after she says that she literally says, "Yeah, don't take what I'm saying too serious. I'm just joking." Right. So that really calls into question the validity of the statement prior. Obviously, like if DKT was stronger than Muzan and Nezuko. Right. So then, secondly, I would just argue that we even see like when DKT is like transforming back to himself when that's not Nezuko when Canal uses the serum on him. Like we see through the interaction with Luzon and Tundra before like he lets go of Muzan completely. He's like, "Wait, but you're gonna foil my plans, and I'm gonna make you the strongest demon ever." So obviously, it seems more of like he had the potential to reach that level rather than he actually reached that level or he was above Muzan. So yeah, I don't see how that would follow.
So you're saying it's just more like a potential thing. And I'll make you just okay. I have like a disagreement with that. So you said they said they were joking after. You had like the scan for that because like you're the Demon Slayer guy. You got the scan for that where he says like I'm joking or whatever. You have that because I'm pretty sure they imply okay because he can fight in the daytime and he can do these
One
things that
second, one second.
Muzan couldn't prior do. It implies that he became stronger than Muzan in that instance because Muzan just dies in the sun and just doesn't have this weakness. And we know that these weaknesses within Demon Slayer that these demons have as they get stronger. Okay, whatever.
Oh yeah, I hope you guys are not hoping for me to judge this, by the way. I am not doing that shit.
Nah, that's fine.
That's real.
Take it the eternal server
Yo,
judge, bro.
I would
Just
get it. Yo, I
forever.
would get it.
All
Ichi,
right,
get it, Judge.
all right, I'm back. I'm back. Repeat what you're saying.
Okay. So Quintz, pretty much what I was saying is that I think that it's more likely or to say that Tandro was stronger than Muzan in that moment because we see that Tandro doesn't have this weakness that Muzan has. And then we also know as demons get stronger, they get less weaknesses than they had prior, which is just shown like consistently throughout the manga. We see this with like Muzan, because he's like the strongest demon. We see as he gets stronger, or him being stronger, that his head is like he can regrow his head now. Or Akaza, as he's getting stronger, he like surpasses his potential prior and is able to regrow his head. The same for Kokushibo. When he gets stronger, he can regrow his head now. So I think in that moment, it's an implication that Tandro was really like he actually surpassed Muzan in that moment. And there's more credence to say that he did it in that moment. And that Muzan only said that he'd become the strongest demon ever because one, he's not alive anymore. And two, with him not having that weakness and surpassing all prior demons, there would be no way to surpass this demon in any point or time. So I think it's like more of like less of a potential statement as uh more like he's strong at this moment and he'll just become strong like to the point where you can't surpass him either.
Yeah, I get it. So look, I'm gonna try to go one by one, and I'm gonna give counter arguments like in between those as well. So I'm gonna start off with the first thing you said. So you said that. Well, the first thing I heard is really, or the main thing I heard really is just that. You said that like demons with their potential, like they can surpass their potential, things of that nature. Like in your example was Akaza with like when he got his head cut off and he was growing it back.
Yeah, pretty much as they get stronger, like weaknesses they don't have prior, uh, pretty much go away. Like Muzan, there's like many instances like Kokushibo, Akaza, and Muzan that like Muzan being this like extremely strong demon known as like the king of demons, he can like regrow his head, or he doesn't die when his head gets cut off. Akaza getting stronger can regrow his head. Kokushibo like surpasses his limits, is able to regrow his head in that moment. I think it's like a strength attributed thing. The weaknesses are like a strength attributed thing. It's like when they
Okay.
get stronger, these weaknesses go away. I just think Muzan just hadn't reached that strength, that sword yet, to where the sun wouldn't affect him anymore. That's why
Okay. I
they
was gonna say.
also like
Okay. Never mind. My fault. My fault. I didn't mean to cut you off. I
I'm
know you.
saying like also implied when like Muzan himself states that Tandro would become the strongest demon because he doesn't have this weakness. It's like just like the strength and weaknesses are like attributed to each other pretty much.
Okay, so here's the thing, like with Demon Slayer, right? The more of Muzan's blood you have, right? The better, the more strength you have. One and two, the better your regen is, right? I'm pretty sure we learned throughout the Muzan fight that Muzan is able to do all these things because he has multiple. First off, he has like multiple brains, multiple hearts. His regen is like obviously at the peak of where he can get. If he's at nature, we know people like Kokushibo are like the closest thing to him because we know during like his fight with Gyomei and then they're like, oh yeah, he's the strongest demon. So we know that the amount of Muzan's blood that's in someone like Kokushiba would obviously like allow him to be able to regenerate for things such as like getting his neck cut or his head cut or things of that nature, right? And I do agree that demons can surpass the limits or their potential. Like for example, with Akaza and how he got his head cut off, and they were talking about like how he had potential to like reach Muzan's level or whatever. So I agree with that, but another thing is just that like it also depends on the time frame, right? You also have to be a demon for some time. You also have to like eat to like grow your strength and things of that nature as well, right? The thing is that with Hondro, because of his genetics or whatever, right, he lacks certain qualities that come with normal demons. That those such as like Kokushibo and Akaza and them have, right? They have weaknesses like the red blade and things of that nature. And in the sunlight. But we know Tanjiro, he doesn't. So obviously like he would be a more complete demon overall because of the amount of weaknesses that he doesn't have compared to, like Akaza and like Doma and Kokushibo, right? But the main reason why I said it was a potential thing is because although what's it called? We know that at the beginning of the fight, right? DKT is not at his full potential at all. We know that he's growing stronger, like continuously as the fight goes on, and we know that they're like, well, yeah, if we don't get the serum in him now, then he's gonna go out of control and it's not gonna work, and he's gonna get even stronger. So we know just based off of that alone, he's not at his full potential or at his peak, right? And then the Yushiro statement is just called into question because she literally says she's joking about it. So how can we say that in that moment he performed at a level that's higher than Muzan's if the person in question who's supposed to be the vouch doesn't even believe it herself? You know? So
Yeah, I
that's
understand.
why I'm questioning whether or not you actually fought an opponent that was stronger than what the Gyomei fought.
Okay. Another reason that like backs up like the point of him being stronger is because Muzan himself clarifies that when he was crumbling away, he says that he would pour all of his blood into Tondro and he will become the strongest demon. It doesn't say like he will eventually become. He says he's pouring his all of his like blood into him at that moment. He will conquer the sun and become the strongest demon. I can post a statement for this too. So it's more likely that in that moment he became the strongest demon, and it's also backed up by that other person's statement. I understand you're saying they don't believe in themselves of the statement, but I think that's just more credence to or more backup to what Muzan said, or at least supports the narrative that at this moment he was the strongest. Which I'll just post this in general, I guess.
All right,
But
I was gonna go get some scans. No, let's read this. Right. To my own feelings, her undying and eternal will. I won't trust all my foolish child. His breath and heart stopped, but not all his cells died, so he's still alive. There's still time. I will pour all my blood and power. And if you avoid immediate death and survive, all right, that's the point. That's a part you have to also like take
yes,
into
he
account.
avoided immediate
So
death. He survived, and then he
he
kept fighting
survived, and
and he started
then
unlocking more power. So there's more credence to say, okay, he became the strongest of demons at that moment, and he conquered sunlight.
not.
So
Wait,
it's
hold
likely
on,
to
hold on.
say, okay,
Before you continue, because I don't want to lose track. Because I'm not gonna lie, if you do talk a lot, and I ain't did this debate shit in a minute, nigga. So I can't even keep up with that shit. So I'm gonna just say this: if it's saying that you have to avoid immediate death and survive, right? And it says you will conquer the sunlight, and then you will become what's called says and become the strongest demon, king of demons, right? And we know that he doesn't reach his full potential the minute that he becomes DKT because the people around already recognize that once he's out that he's growing continuously throughout the fight. So he's not at his full power yet. I don't see how him not being at his full power and still growing, how that will put him on a pedestal higher than someone like Muzan. And we also have to realize that Muzan in this state, currently he's like severely injured, right? He took all those drugs and stuff. So the power that he's pouring into Tanjiro is not gonna be like the full power moves on in his prime or anything like that. So it's kind of hard to just like judge or tell like alone that oh yeah he gets this power he's automatically going to be the strongest demon. It just doesn't seem to work like that.
yeah, I understand the argument. So my entire issue with that is like, okay, so you're saying that him initially surviving and him getting stronger just goes against him being the strongest at that moment. I'm saying that okay, because he poured all this power into him and he told him to become the strongest demon. I'm saying that even this weakened version of Tondro would have this prior power that Muzan has, because we know Muzan himself knows his own strength, and then he himself gives credence. He's like, oh, I'll pour all this energy with you, and if you survive, you'll become the strongest demon. So he himself clarifies
Oh,
this,
hold on, let me
already
grab my
knowing his
charger.
strength. What do you say?
All right. My fault. I had to get my charger. Let me leave VC and rejoin and see if I fix the speaker real quick. Okay, what were you saying?
Okay, okay, Quince. I was saying this right. I was saying that okay, Muzan himself has knowledge of his own strength and what his strength would be prior to him even being afflicted with that poison. And he says that if he pours all his power into Tondro at this moment, and if he survives him doing that, then he would become the strongest demon and the king of demons. He already knows his strength, and you yourself states that okay, Muzan wants him to become the strongest demon of all, and we know he's getting stronger later in this fight. So I'm saying I'm making a clarification that okay, so in this moment when he pours his blood in, he's at least as strong as Muzan was before, if not stronger, and then he's just continuously getting stronger because he's overcoming a prior weakness that Muzan had himself. So it's just like
Ichi,
it's just up from there. It's an exponential growth from there.
Ichi.
Okay,
One
what's up?
question: can we clarify what you mean by like before? Do you mean like that state of Muzan, like deathbed Muzan, pretty much, or do you mean prime Muzan?
Um,
Because that's where disconnect is. If it's that Muzan, I hope you know that Muzan is like terribly weak, and he was getting folded by the Hofstra and stuff, and then that's why all those statements came out where he was like, "Oh yeah, I shouldn't be able to be getting hit like this and this that, and the third." So he's like severely weakened.
Yeah, I know. By the poison. Okay, okay. My entire
Yeah,
issue with that dream
it's
team is
like
even then, I think that that moves on scale is like above the Hashra because at that point they're like, nigga, they're like, boy, them boys is like 1v6 in his ass, and he's still like, nigga, one shotting them, throwing them around, like just folding them boys, even weakened, and then moves on himself would know how strong he would be even during his healthy state. So even if we give credence to it being a weakened or healthy Muzan, it would still be a stronger opponent than whatever Gyomei has ever fought. Because it would just be weakened Muzan plus an like a external Nezuko power
okay, yeah,
that
I see what you mean. But look, the thing is, it would be like it would work like that if stronger in this context kind of doesn't more lean towards like his physiology, because we know like right after he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll pour all my blood and all my power into you, and you'll conquer Sonic, and I'll make you the strongest demon." We know he's like, "Well, yeah, you share the same blood as Nezuko, and you're the only one that's able to use the same breathing technique." So basically, he'd become a demon capable of using sun breathing while also being immune to sunlight, while also being immune to red blade and things of that nature. So it's like his arsenal plus his physiology would make him the strongest demon if he avoids immediate death and survives. And we know that although I guess you could say like it wasn't immediate, but in a short time span, they got like the demon shit under control, and he was back to normal. So obviously, if he's talking about that, and then we see at the bottom he talks about his dreams. You're gonna make my dreams come true. I'll reference back to what I said earlier about like what happens afterwards when he gets to serum and how they disconnect, right? And then he's all like, wait, Tanjiro, don't go. No, you're supposed to fulfill my dreams." So I feel like that also will kind of like help build my case for why, he's just not the strongest demon yet. Like if he didn't get that serum put into him, he'll be the strongest demon because we would actually get to see the full extent of his power. But because he was a demon for such a short amount of time and it didn't really get to pan out, I just think that it makes more sense that he's just not the strongest, you know?
okay, okay. I have an issue with that. The dream
Maybe
thing
he's
doesn't
strongest
like
like
yeah,
arsenal wise and
okay.
physiology wise, but
I'm
strength
saying
wise no.
okay. The dream thing doesn't really matter because we know Muzan's dream the entire like this is like an entire like narrative within Demon Slayer that Muzan just doesn't want to die. He's already the strongest demon ever. So his dream obviously wouldn't have to do anything with strength. We know that he just wants to be like this immortal being that never dies because he has like this extreme fear of death, which is confirmed by many people. So the dream thing wouldn't be like apparent, and this wouldn't connect back to the strength thing. And we know that, okay, so Tanjiro at this moment, sure, he'll become this demon that can use like breathing styles and he can use these many things and won't have these weaknesses. But I'm attributing these weaknesses that these demons have to him surpassing uh his potential or like his demonic potential, which you like you yourself admitted that okay, the more blood you have of a demon of Muzan, the more strength you'll have. And he gives Tandra all of his strength and says that you'll become the strongest when if you survive this. So he survives it, becomes stronger, and is gradually just getting stronger and stronger throughout this fight, as well as attributing more strength to his breathing styles and having the blood of Nezuko, which Muzan needed. So I think it's more like Tandro's inherently already stronger than like the Muzans that we see, especially when we know that Muzan knows his strength and he knows like many other people's strength, and even if you don't give credence to that, he'd still be at least as strong as the weakened Muzan we see, which is still stronger than the Gyomei, and it would just be more attributed to that. Gyomei's narrative would just be ended when he fought, and Gyu's just stronger at that point. But if
Well,
you want
can
to
I?
conclude,
Let me ask you one. Oh yeah, we can conclude, but let me ask you one question before we conclude. So if you're gonna, so like, if your claim is gonna be like, oh yeah, that Tanjiro will be as strong as the previous Muzans, right? We know Gyomei was like the main. I wouldn't say the main, but he was like one of the offensive juggernauts for that run, right? And the team trying to take down Muzan, he was like one of the main guys putting in damage, putting in work, right? So wouldn't that technically mean that anything, he would have been fighting the same dude just in a different body.
I
Body
mean,
works because he
not
would be the same. He would be the same strength as the other Muzans, and Gyomei already fought those Muzans. So how would he be fighting a stronger opponent? It just
well,
also just doesn't make sense to me. But
it's
yeah, I
more.
think we can conclude for sure.
Yeah,
I don't see how far this point is gonna go.
that's fine. That this just goes back to my like point that this Muzan would be at least as strong. I mean, this Tandro would just be at least as strong as like a prior Muzan would, but plus the Nezuko blood and like the techniques, which would still just make him like inherently stronger. And then it would go back to like the potential thing and like pretty much. I think we've concluded enough.
All right,
I don't
yeah,
know.
I'll just give a conclusion. Like, I'll just give a proper conclusion just for the rec, and then you can give yours next. So
Sure.
my conclusion would be that, all right. So firstly, I'm gonna clarify this point. This point is on whether or not Demon King Tanjiro is the strongest demon. Uh, basically, what Ichi brings up is the Yustro statement, which just basically says that you conquer the sun in an instant, and you you surpass Muzan and Nezuko and all sort of shit. And then basically my counter to that is just right after she says that, literally like two panels after that, she literally says, "Yeah, I was just joking. Don't get your hopes up," or like something along those lines. I'm just paraphrasing it. All right, so that in itself already calls the question. Not my fault. It calls the statement in the question of whether or not moves if DKT ever even passed moves on one, and then two, we know that another one of my contentions was basically that we know that DKT like from the moment he becomes DKT up until the point he gets his serum, he never reached his full potential. He was still growing. So it wouldn't make sense for him to basically be the strongest demon, yet he's still growing and he's only been a demon for a short amount of time. All right. Third contention goes back to the scan that he sent, basically explaining what all my interpretation. Uh, it's basically saying that yeah, you'll be the strongest demon, and you have qualities and features that your sister has, and you have certain things that other demons don't have or can't possess. So therefore, you'll be the strongest demon. Nothing that which Ichi has presented actually proven that DKT is stronger than Muzan. If anything, he probably stronger than like the deathbed Muzan, which is like fine because Gyomei has already fought like a stronger version of Muzan. And then that, so it'd be like he'd be fighting people on the same level. So yeah, I just don't think Ishii ever proved that uh, because he was strongest demon. All
Okay,
right, I'm
I
gonna
guess.
go now. You can get this conclusion. I'll catch y'all later. Just text me what the judgment is.
Yeah, sure. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if I feel like giving a conclusion, but I think I like proved like pretty much the negation to Muzan just being like, Tandro just being like the same strength as that Muzan, or at least even if you do like grandstand, he has that strength, he has these added abilities that Quintz added on that would make him like a stronger opponent than that deathbed Muzan to begin with. And I think I like pretty much went against the joking point pretty well. I said that even if she is joking, which we don't know if she is or not, even if we give credence to that, it would just be a narrative consistency of that Muzan just being stronger. That Tandro being stronger. So it would just be like a narrative consistency that Muzan wants him to become like the strongest, or he does become strongest, and then we go like clarify it, and then Muzan himself states that he'd insert the blood in his body to make him the strongest demon in that moment, which Quintz does like agree that Muzan's blood does make demons stronger. So I think it would tribute uh, more to his strength, and then we have like, yeah, that's pretty much it. Not gonna lie. I guess I'll say direct.
Is that all? Is that it?